Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another 4-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever's necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefit of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Right Network's original series, Smith TV. Your host, Brian Smith, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, exposing the fake news media like we've got today with the social media summit and Donald Trump, the stable genius, and giving you the real news every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And right after the show is the Wayne Dupree Show from 8 to 9 p.m. The link to Wayne Dupree Show is right in the description below as well. And if this is the first time you've been on the show, welcome, welcome, welcome. Crush the like, crush the share, and this is kind of how the show works. Down in the description, you can see the different links for, again, as I said, Wayne Dupree Show right after this one, as well as iHeartRadio if you want to listen to the show audio only. Telegram is an app on your phone, and it works fantastic. No censorship there whatsoever. You'll get a link every single day when the show goes live, so that you'll never miss a single beat. A lot of my friends and family say that they never get notification. That's Jack Dorsey and Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg playing with the conservatives as they do. And the Telegram app will keep us in touch, so you'll never miss a single moment. And if you're on Parler, Parler.com, the link's down there in the description. So are we. We can link up on Parler as well. And this show is self-funded. We've been doing this for years, and I want to give a big shout-out to our Patreons. Thank you so very much for making this possible for us to get out the new news, the real news, exposing the fake news every single day. If you like what you hear and you're here to help support the new news media, jump down in the description to the patreon.com or jump over to smith.tv. Every single dime helps. Much appreciated, whether it be $1, $5 a month, whatever it is. It absolutely helps to keep this show on Monday through Friday, and I thank you so very, very much. Today, what an incredible day. Thursday thoughts, guys. Hashtag trending all day. ICE raids. Stable genius. We'll get into some of that Donald Trump trolling people with some of his tweets. I absolutely love it. Anybody that says that Donald Trump shouldn't be tweeting, they're on the wrong side of the fence anyways. It don't matter. We'll talk about that. We've got some Spygate updates that are a few days old, but I'm telling you right now, I thought I was on top of Spygate, but I absolutely missed this one, so we'll go over it. I'll talk to you guys about it and let you know some of the updates and things that are going on. We've got the Democrat feud. Talked about that the other day with Nancy Pelosi and Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and AOC just breaking the party in half. It's what you get when you gaslight your people for so many years, literally their entire lives, by not doing anything. So we'll talk more on that, as well as immigration. Again, trending all day, hashtag ICE raids. How they find out that ICE is producing these raids is just, it's so unpatriotic for somebody in the system, deep state employees, to tip the hat and let people know that ICE is raiding illegals, to remove them from the country. But again, it's out there. We've got all the stuff on display. And then we'll wrap the show up with Islam. Again, Islam making a big splash. News that you didn't hear about, news that you won't hear about, things that they won't tell you that you will only get here on Smith TV. Again, New Right Network's original series. And for those of you who forgot to tell you about the show notes. I'm going through the show notes and I didn't even tell you about it. Down in the description, there's a link. It says full show notes. That'll take you directly over to newrightnetwork.com. There's usually about 3 pages of show notes. You go along with it with us and all the different patriots that tweet out these tweets and put up the articles for us to produce the show. Click on their name. That'll take you right over to Twitter. You'll be able to follow them. And if you're trying to build up a following, a lot of these great patriots will follow you back. And if you like what you hear, take the link for the show notes and share that with your friends and your family, because then they can also watch the show, because in the article for the show notes is the embed for the video. All of it, one single place, one single link. Share that with your friends and your family. What is going on in Washington, D.C. today with our great president, Donald Trump? This at Echo the Call, True Patriot one to follow, absolutely. She tweets out, at Real Donald Trump will host lawmakers, activists, and social media personalities today at the White House for a social media summit about alleged anti-conservative bias online. Hope they address our followers being tampered with. And this at Fox and Friends first. And this, our good friend at Chat by CC. This is absolutely one great patriot to follow. This is fascism. They are fascist. This will not be tolerated by the United States of America. Replying to Don Jr. John Jr. tweeted out, a handful of leftist big tech overlords are deciding what ideas are acceptable and dictating what info spreads online. And now they're deciding who is allowed to make a living on the internet. Big tech has become the single greatest threat to our freedoms. This, our good friend at Project Veritas, James O'Keefe.
As we continue to scour the raft of internal Google documents that were leaked to us, we discovered these internal communications. The post is titled, quote, please join us in asking Google to remove ads from Breitbart.com. It is dated March 23, 2017. Quote, I'm sure most of you are aware of the extreme sexism that articles and comments on Breitbart disseminates. For this and many other reasons, my colleagues and I have drafted an internal letter to leadership asking them to end Google's business relationship with Breitbart. 1,186 Googlers have co-signed the letter. A Google insider gave us this document. Can you tell us what this document shows?
So what this document shows is that some employees within Google are getting together a petition so that Google will ban Breitbart News from their ad networks in order to cut them off from the revenue stream. What you're looking at is you're looking at Google intolerance. And what's really ironic here is that Google prides itself on inclusion and diversity. But what you see right here is actually an intolerance to inclusion and an intolerance to diversity. You know, they're looking at this at Breitbart and they're saying anyone who wants to hold their nose and look through Breitbart for hate speech, right? They are inducing political action through their employees to express their intolerance to any sort of dissenting opinion.
This is important because Google claims protection under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Breitbart's comment, this is more confirmation that Google is staffed by many left-wing activists with a totalitarian, un-American desire to silence, defund, and deplatform those with whom they politically disagree, or even make them feel the slightest bit uncomfortable. This is all about 2020.
Be brave. Do something.
As we showcased yesterday, Dina Borelli now been throttled on Facebook. She no longer makes a living at the Blaze TV. Just completely removed an entire paycheck. She no longer makes money at Blaze TV. Now we've got Google attempting to deplatform Breitbart News. Breitbart is actually great, awesome news, up-to-date, real news, exposing fake news. A lot of the articles that we talk about on the show come from Breitbart News, come from Gateway Pundit, Breitbart founded by Andrew Breitbart himself, along with our good friend Jim Hoft, who is also the founder of GatewayPundit.com. This is totalitarian. This is absolutely un-American, and this is what they're talking about up on Capitol Hill today. Donald Trump, I shout out to you yesterday. I got to do it again, man. You absolutely need to jump in on this. You absolutely need to get this corrected as of yesterday. We have no more time left. This is just It's unbelievable what they're doing to us on Twitter, what they're doing to us on Facebook. Don't complain about it. I don't want to get into the whole nitty-gritty of it all because I just get more upset about it. I just got to kind of turn the blind eye and say, okay, it's out of my control. I can't do anything about it, but I'll keep on keeping on, fighting the good fight, if you will. And they've been watching the show for a long time. You guys know I don't disagree with President Trump on pretty much almost anything other than the fact in Charlottesville when he said that there were bad people on both sides. No, man, all the bad people are all on one side. That's the leftists. That's the Democrats. That's these people. One other tweet that I disagree with in the past, 2.5, 3 years? It's only two. He tweeted out that he probably would have won in 2016 without social media. I got to disagree with that 100%. We banded together. We found each other. We marched on. We told people about the real news. We exposed the fake news. And we calling out Hillary Clinton and her health, and that got trending. And then we truly saw her health. All this that came out about Hillary Clinton over social media, whether it be through WikiLeaks or it be through us, be through Mark Dice, I'm just saying, sir, I have to disrespectfully disagree with you on that. And this at Really Awaken Now, support Project Veritas and retweet this video. Update, Washington Post prints correction after falsely claiming.
So I have a little story to tell you about American journalism and something that just happened to Project Veritas in regards to the Washington Post. On Tuesday, the Washington Post ran a quote of mine on their online article, and I'm going to read it to you. In a statement Tuesday, O'Keefe defended Project Veritas and its methods, quote, "Other than the pimp coat in a trailer and a scene change in a restaurant nearly 10 years ago, nobody has been able to name one factually misleading edit in any of our 100-plus investigations." Close quote, he said. That was the Washington Post, online. On Wednesday, that quote was selectively edited out of the print edition, and I'm going to read you the new quote. In a statement Tuesday, O'Keefe defended Project Veritas and its methods, quote, "Nobody has been able to name one factually misleading edit in any of our 100-plus investigations," he said, and they inserted a new line that did not exist on Tuesday, quote, "but that ignored the results of investigations of O'Keefe's work dating to 2009, when his organization first came to wide public attention after it published a video that claimed to show two workers for the anti-poverty organization Acorn plotting to commit voter fraud." And listen to this. The Washington Post says, quote, "The video was later proved false, says the Washington Post, by investigators for the California Attorney General's Office and the U.S. Government Accountability Office, and O'Keefe settled a lawsuit from one of the workers." The Washington Post is reporting that our videos on Acorn were proven false. That is defamatory. We are requesting a correction.
This is what they're doing to James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. You can only imagine what they're doing to us. Go all the way back to Spygate. Go back to Russia, where we had the FBI, the CIA, Barack Obama, all of them. Look what they did to Donald Trump before his presidency and after his presidency. If the government can do that, if Google can do this, imagine what they're doing to the rest of us. And this is one of the great tweets from our president, Donald Trump, at the summit today, at Real Donald Trump. Big subject today at the White House social media summit will be the tremendous dishonesty, bias, discrimination, and suppression practiced by certain companies. We will not let them get away with it much longer. The fake news media will also be there, but for a limited period. Second tweet, the fake news is not as important or powerful as social media. They have lost tremendous credibility since that day in November 2016 that I came down the escalator with the person who was to become your future first lady. When I ultimately leave office in 6 years, or maybe 10 or 14, just kidding. They will quickly go out of business for lack of credibility or approval from the public. That's why they will all be endorsing me at some point, one way or another. Could you imagine having Sleepy Joe Biden or Alfred E. Newman? Or a very nervous and skinny version of Pocahontas, 1/124th, 1 and 1024th, as your president rather than what you have now? So great looking and smart, true stable genius. Sorry to say that even social media would be driven out of business along with, and finally, the fake news media. Guys, we are never going to have another president like this ever again. He called himself great looking and smart and a stable genius. And for those of you who don't know, when he called the stable genius part is the trigger word for all of social media. Stable genius now trending throughout social media because he said it. This is that fun stuff that Rush Limbaugh does on his show as well. Guys, we all think it's hysterical, and I'm telling you, the Democrats are absolutely triggered by this president. And so we've gotten an early copy of who's who and who's going to be there at the social media summit. The invitees are James O'Keefe, Carpe Dunctum, a good friend of ours, a friend of the show's, Brent Bozell, Charlie Kirk, another great patriot, Benny Johnson, Ali Alexander. Hey, congratulations, Ali, another good friend of the show. Jim Hoff, I just mentioned him earlier, great friend of the show. The Heritage Foundation, Tim Cast, we've been following Tim Cast forever. CJ Pearson, a great, incredible young mind as well. Lila Rose, Scott Pressler, one of our good friends. Scott Pressler will be there. Joy Villa and Prager U. I hear that Ben Garrison for GRR Graphics Cartoons was invited, but then disinvited to do public outcry over his recent cartoons. And this is GRR Graphics. I think it's absolutely fantastic what he's been doing. It's been incredibly awesome. I'm really sorry to hear and to see that the White House disinvited him. If that's true, we'll have to stay on top of it and find out. And this is one of Ben Garrison's cartoons. Muslims, pedophiles, rapists, and murderers. Globalist PC police together, British police together, taking Tommy Robinson away, who there is no free speech in Great Britain. I'm sorry, Great Britain. For those of you in the UK, this may be shocking to you, might just found out, but there is no free speech in the UK. There is no Second Amendment. There's none of that. And yes, apparently in London, if you talk about pedophiles, if you talk about Muslims, if you talk about them killing people and stuff like that, yeah, you'll get shut down, and Tommy Robinson is finding that out. And this tweeted out by Benny Johnson. This is literally fake news, CNN. And as you can see, this social media summit expected attendees, and CNN says Trump invites right-wing media to social media summit. And then they have the names of people up there. They've got James O'Keefe, Charlie Kirk, Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk's names are wrong. They're under the wrong person. They're under the wrong... They just named the wrong person in the... This is why CNN, this is why you guys are known as the fake news media. Guys, if you're going to talk about who's going to attend the social media summit, at least get the name right of the speaker or get the name right of the individual that's going to be there. Come on, man. And I talked a little bit about this yesterday, women's soccer team. I don't care for it. I don't care for the soccer. I'm not into that kind of thing, World Cup stuff. But I was really upset about how these women are just absolutely disrespectful to the flag, disrespectful to our country and our president of the United States when they're overseas. Just bad, bad, bad. It shows how bad you truly are. The one player calls out, I'll come to Capitol Hill for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and names a whole bunch of AOC, and names a whole bunch of liberal Democrats, and says, I'll come anytime. A bipartisan Congress. You don't even know what you're talking about, girl. You play soccer. Why are sports figures now all of a sudden important intellectual people we should be following? This is so wrong. But I was really upset about the whole, if you saw it last night, it was all over social media, the cussing and the swearing and the drinking and the binging by these soccer players. Oh, okay, great. This is what our kids should look forward to, being world-class soccer players and getting drunk on social media, getting ripped and cussing up a storm, dropping the F-bombs. I'm done with this whole thing with these girls and this team. My daughters didn't watch any of it. My daughters got nothing to do with it, and they're big soccer players because this is not the behavior that we want in our family. This at No Mercy 604. Watch. Hockey coach tells players to respect the national anthem or get the out.
Hey guys, listen up for a second. First day of camp, but something really important. Okay, we're not women's soccer. We're not the NFL. If there's anybody here that's going to be disrespectful to either the American or the Canadian national anthem, grab your gear and get the out now, because you'll never see the ice in this arena. We don't have that problem in hockey. We're better than that. But there was no sense in wasting anybody's time if that shit was going to happen. I don't believe it would happen here. We're the most patriotic sport that they have out there. So just keep that in mind. Thank you.
That's like a coach I had growing up. Where are these coaches nowadays? Apparently, in order to find a great coach, you got to go play hockey. That's out of control. But I'm glad that he called that out. I'm glad that whoever recorded that in that locker room, thank you. Truly, thank you for getting that information out. Let people know that that's a real coach. That's what real coaches say. Good job. Some other stuff you're not going to see or hear unless you pick up the Gateway Pundit or Breitbart News. This, our good friend at WATSPN 1013. This is Gene, great patriot to follow. Hollywood superstar towels off seats for Gold Star families. July 4th, Jon Voight joined Gold Star families at President Trump's salute to America. Having rained earlier, Voight used paper towels and wiped seats for families of the U.S. military who died serving. As you can see right here, Jon Voight, he's got a roll of paper towels, and he's walking from seat to seat, just drying off the seats, and it had just rained earlier. God bless you, Jon Voight. We've known this, our good friend at Coca_Bean10. Practice what you preach to one of the soccer players, the one that's very disrespectful. Respect those who respect the flag and anthem. And this is a picture of what looks like to be a wife who is broken down, crying in tears over the casket with the draped flag of her loved one, probably her husband. This is another woman, black woman, kissing the casket of probably her husband. This is why we don't kneel for the flag. It's out of the respect for those that have died for your freedoms, for the entire Declaration of Independence, the entire Constitution, all the way from First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth, Sixth, all of them. This is why they fight, is to protect you and to protect us and protect our freedoms. And to kneel for the national anthem or to kneel for the flag is beyond reprehensible. And this is our good friend at Eddie Is Back, KAG 2020. Anyone else stockpiling up on bleach? Like, man, I had to read this tweet. What's this all about? He gives a public service announcement, folks. A total of 468 seats, 33 Senate seats, and all 435 House seats are up for election on November 3rd, 2020. Time to clean house. That is correct, folks. It is definitely time to clean house. We've got to get the word out on the candidates who are America First candidates who want to help Donald Trump and his agenda. I don't care if you are in a Democrat area. There is a very good chance right now, this election, 2020, that you could overthrow Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, AOC. AOC overthrew an old dog Crowley. God been in it forever. Crowley was slated to be Speaker of the House, and she overthrew him, and she's far left-leaning. Guys, if you live in that district, there's a very good possibility that Democrats would vote for you over what they're seeing AOC do. AOC and her posse voted against Nancy Pelosi's bill to help fund the border. Just harp on that. Democrats want to secure the border, guys. Not these crazy left-wing open borders, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, AOC. the run-of-the-mill Democrats. You're just your average Joe Democrat that doesn't really stay plugged into politics, but votes Democrat because his parents did and their parents did. Once they find out what AOC's doing, once you expose them for who they are, you very good chance you could overthrow that and upset that. Whereas you couldn't have done that to Crowley, you could definitely do that to these new Democrats. And as I said, I'd give you some updates on Spygate, some of the things that you haven't heard that's out there now. This, our good friend at 2017 FRN, Black Conservative Patriot on YouTube, tweeted out and referred to and did an article on this. 16 hours Christopher Steele was grilled under the lights. And this at SX Doc, Mueller ordered to cease and desist, making his unsubstantiated claims of the 13 Russians he indicted were directed by the Kremlin. They are suing Mueller and will win. Only other Russians in Mueller report are with our State Department. And that was retweeted by Paul. He was retweeting Paul Sperry _ breaking major blow to Democrats. Russia stole the election narrative. U.S. judge orders Mueller to cease and desist. So we got two big wins in the Spygate case right now, guys. First off, cease and desist, no more. It is done. It is over. Russian meddling that we know of went with Clinton. The Clintons meddled with Russia, meddled with the Ukraine in order to overthrow the election, not the Donald Trump. Now we've got a U.S. judge ordering Mueller to cease and desist. And yet again, another big win. Christopher Steele in the UK, who has already testified to the UK courts. Now we've got Durham, who's working underneath Attorney General Barr. Durham and crew take a flight to England to depose Christopher Steele for 16 straight hours. This is big, guys, because when they bring that testimony back here to America, they're going to be able to lay that out in court in front of the Americans. They're going to be able to lay this out and show us exactly what he said. And I'd like to see what James Comey's got to say about that. Andrew McCabe, Hillary Clinton, all y'all, what you got to say about now the originator, the guy who put together the salacious PP dossier gate in conjunction with Ukrainian officials that we now know are corrupt officials on audio tape saying that we are absolutely going to help Hillary Clinton win this election. And we've got dirt on Manafort that is now proven to be false. It doesn't hold as much water as the Russian dossier gate, folks. So Paul Manafort, from what we're seeing right now, has been falsely imprisoned. Guys, Mueller needs to pay, and all of them need to go down. There's no question about this. We exposed Mueller and his tactics last week, where they were going around and they were Jerome Corsi, where they were going around, they were lying about him, they were leaking to the media, they were trying to, they're tampering with witnesses and intimidating witnesses, trying to get Jerome Corsi to lie under oath to get that testimony, which is fake testimony. It's a lie, and he even said it was a lie, to use that testimony to go after other people underneath Donald Trump. Jerome Corsi and his $100 million a lawsuit against Mueller. Guys, it's just a matter of time. And we reported on this earlier this week, but I just want to bring it back up because it is absolutely relevant. This reported by Fox News. Sean Hannity talked about it, and Fox and Friends talked about it. And our good friend at The Testy Tar Heel, a great patriot to follow. And the plot thickens. Now the Dems are calling each other racist when they don't like the truth. I'm sitting back here with popcorn. Absolutely, guys. AOC is calling Nancy Pelosi racist because, the incoming Democrats, us new ladies, were of color, and you're hating on us. I love it. I love how Pelosi, she's using your tactics against you. You have gaslit this crew for decades. Think about this. AOC in her mid to late 20s. And you've been in office longer than she's been alive. That's for one, you and Chuck Schumer. And she was raised up hating George Bush. She was raised up, you guys bashing Bush, the CNN, the MSNBCs, and then raised through Barack Obama. All the promises made, never kept. She decides, well, I'm going to make a promise. I'm going to keep it. You gaslit her, Nancy. That way you can't do nothing about it. Your whole party's lit up. Man, good luck with that. Speaking of gaslighting, oh, Lord, we got Bernie Sanders. And I'm only playing this because Bernie Sanders is running for president of the United States again. Bernie, you wrecked your people. You ruined them. And it's just not possible. Nobody's going to buy what you're selling, bro.
This morning I introduced legislation in the Senate declaring that climate change is a national emergency. A similar legislation was introduced in the House by Representative Blumhauer and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Anybody who does not appreciate that climate change is a not only national emergency, but a global emergency really does not understand what's going on. And what the scientific community has told us is that we have all of 12 years in order to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, or there will be irreparable damage done to this planet. Our job right now is to have the courage to take on the fossil fuel industry, who make billions and billions of dollars every single year destroying our planet. To take them on and, in fact, to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. This is a national emergency. The future of the planet is hanging on our decision about moving forward. Let's go forward together. Thank you.
Jeez, Bernie, this is so sad, guys. He's looking much older, which he is, obviously, and it's not looking good. The audacity, let me start out with this. The audacity of you Satanistic, godless individuals over on the Democrat Party. The audacity that you have, that you think that you can somehow control the climate, control the temperature. You call it climate crisis, climate chaos. The climate changes all the time, y'all. The climate shifts all the time, and there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing you or I can do about this global, and if you can stop volcanoes from erupting, okay, all right, I'll buy it. Go out to Hawaii, start in Hawaii, and all the volcanoes that are erupting under the water, forming new, islands and things like that. When you can stop that from happening, then I'll listen. But until then, you got nothing, man. One volcano eruption, just one massive volcano eruption, you can circle the entire globe. Talk about global warming. You Democrats, you ain't got a single pea in your head. It's crazy. And the other thing is crazy is what you guys are talking about when it comes to the border. We got Ilhan Omar, AOC going down to the border, creating an actual second crisis where the Democrats are manufacturing a crisis by not helping on the border, by not funding the border, and now creating another crisis, social media crisis, if you will, by fake staging and calling out Donald Trump, when in reality, thank you, Donald Trump, for setting the record straight. It's Donald Trump setting the record straight. At Real Donald Trump, Democrats had to quickly take down a tweet that called kids in cages inhumane treatment at the border because the horrible picture used was the Obama years. Very embarrassing. And this, our good friend at Chat by CC, this is all a game for them. They care about no one but themselves and their fading power. They are losers. The lies being spewed by the left are so numerous, they cannot keep track of them. Game over. And this, at Trump's always, breaking, illegal immigrant families separated under Barack Obama's administration, staging a sit-in at Joe Biden's campaign headquarters. The irony of that. And now the crazed, insane communist Gavin Newsom out in California. This, our friend at the Jim Hook. Democrats do the unthinkable, extending health care to all illegals up to age 25. taxpayer dollars going towards illegals and taken from all of the Californian homeless who could use it. This is the country's liberal lab rat in action. And this is reported by TheHill.com. This isn't only going to affect California. California is then going to beg the federal government for money. This is going to suck money from all the states. Guys, this absolutely has to stop. This is incredible. California, you guys, you're electing the wrong people. Every one of them are all elected wrong. From Maxine Waters, Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, and Gavin Newsom. Your mayors up and down, they're awful. That one mayor up there near, I think Oakland, California, breaking the law, literally should be charged, but tipping the illegals, the gangbangers, the rapists, the murderers, letting them know, hey, ICE is coming. Better get out of town for a little bit. And at Echo the Call, this is absolutely one to follow as well. Great patriot. GOP senators introduce bill, a private right of civil action for victims of sanctuary cities, allowing them to bring an action for compensatory damages against sanctuary jurisdictions as a result of violent crime committed by an illegal immigrant. These are one of those articles that not that I missed, I had it in the show notes, but we ran out of time, so I just wanted to bring it back up today. But yes, Republicans saying that if you have been injured in some way because of the laws in certain cities that make it a sanctuary city, you are allowed to now sue that city, sue that jurisdiction. The state of California is a sanctuary state. California, you're getting nailed. I mean, both ways. Your governor ripping money out of the taxpayers to pay for 100% health care, all the way up and down the line for illegals. What? And now we've got the ability to now sue the state of California for damages done caused by illegal aliens because of your status of sanctuary city. Thank you to Florida, Ron DeSantis, for making it illegal to be a sanctuary city, that we need a law to enforce. Man, don't get me started. And this at TKAG 2020. Our hashtag Border Patrol needs help. Hashtag Border Crisis. Congress, do your job. And this Border Patrol agent on Fox News.
Apprehensions at the U.S.-Mexico border fell by 28% from May to June. What accounts for that? Is that warmer weather? Is that Mexico deploying their own National Guard on their southern border? What is it, sir?
I think it's a combination of a few things, Bill. I think it certainly is an unprecedented agreement that we've made with Mexico. Again, the president was able to secure almost nearly about a month ago. That we are definitely seeing and are encouraged by with the steps that Mexico has taken. That we absolutely need them to sustain those efforts and actually do more. It is all the efforts that we ourselves have put forth to make available, again, all the means and the interagency resources on the border. But make no mistake about it, even a 25% drop, which is what we expect to see in June versus May, that's still over 100,000 apprehensions at our border. We are still in a crisis. We absolutely need to continue to address it.
The Vice President.
And this, another one of our good friends at DJT Saves America. Thank Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, too. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott announces on Friday that he will send another 1,000 National Guard troops to the U.S.-Mexico border while accusing Congress of failing to take action on the growing humanitarian crisis. How tremendous. You can see, and we do it here on the show every single day, folks. You're watching New Right Network's original series, Smith TV. Breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing fake news, and give you the real news. It has never been more clear, at least in my lifetime, it has never been more clear that the Democrats on this show were showing 100% wrong. And the Republicans are usually almost 90-some% right. If they're not, we'll call them out. Governor Greg Abbott, fantastic. Ron DeSantis, fantastic. Governor Newsom, no, man. No, bad. Somebody take a ruler and smack his hand. Bad, Governor, bad. And this at Bubba Louie absolutely agreed to stop funding these countries that are sending their people here.
Review on U.S. foreign assistance to the Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. As you know, in March, the President concluded these countries have not effectively prevented illegal migrants from coming to the United States. At the Secretary's instruction, we continue to implement the President's direction regarding foreign assistance for El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. We completed a review, and previously awarded grants and contracts will continue with current funding. State Department assistance in support of priorities of the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security priorities to help the Northern Triangle governments take actions that will protect the U.S. border and counter transnational organized crime will also continue. We will not provide new funds for programs in those countries until we are satisfied the Northern Triangle governments are taking concrete actions to reduce the number of illegal migrants coming to the U.S. border. Working with Congress, we will reprogram those funds to other priorities as appropriate. This is consistent with the President's direction and with the recognition that it is critical that there be sufficient political will in these countries to address the problem at its source. As Secretary Pompeo has said, these nations have the responsibility to take care of the immigration problems in their home country.
Absolutely. Why are we paying these countries? Why are we paying them at all? Guys, this is a form of welfare to these countries. These countries have become dependent upon the money we give them, like a drug addict to crack. These people are addicted to this money, and we've got to stop all of this. We're not the world's piggy bank, and we got to stop doing this. And going back to the Border Patrol agents saying that 144,000 have been apprehended at the border, and now we're seeing a reduction of 28%. That's huge, guys. That's really huge. Still a big number, 100,000 coming to the border. But that's huge that we're seeing this reduction. Thank you, Donald Trump. These are the actions that need to be taken. This is what we need to do to reduce people wanting to come to the country. Now we're seeing Mexico doing exponentially more than the Democrat Party. We're seeing Republican governors doing more than the Democrat Party to help stop this crisis. And as Ilhan Omar and the rest cry and scream about babies dying on the border and people being injured, at 100,000 people coming to the border, you're going to have people dying. They're in the desert. What do you expect? Speaking about that, as we fight the Democrats, we now also have to expose Islam because that's part of the Democrat plan. This, our good friend at Winston Covfefe, brother of San Francisco CARE director who lobbied Twitter to ban Laura Loomer, calls for exterminating Jews. This at Laura Loomer official. Oh God, reduce their numbers, exterminate them. Don't leave a single one alive. This by Ahmed Aslam, said on his Facebook page. So on Facebook, if you are blasting conservatives like Laura Loomer, if you're blasting Christians and calling for the death of Christians, you're cool. You're good to go. No problem. Apparently, we just saw Facebook change their rules and regulations and the wording so that they could come after, conservatives. Not a problem. And then they had to change it back out of outrage, and maybe they'll change it again. Who knows? Who knows what their policies are from day to day? One thing is for sure that we absolutely do know. We know Islam. This our good friend at McGuire Scotty. Germany, when the locals realize they will never have anything nice again, jealousy, contempt, conquered, degeneration, regression, enjoy your enrichment, Germany. And for those of you audio only, there's a young man, looks to be Muslim descent, dark skin, taking a log and breaking out the front windows and the back windows of cars lined up in a parking lot. Ooh. That's going to hurt. BMW, Audi. Oh, my goodness. Yep, that's Islam. That's what they do. And you're like, no, Brian, no, that's just one guy. No, it's not one guy. Read the Quran, the entire Quran. Read the entire Quran. I'm serious. And you're like, Brian, what do you know about the Quran, Brian? No thine enemy. I've got a Quran right here. You gotta know what it says. You gotta know what these people are thinking and what they've been told to do. This is the takeover and the destruction of the Western culture, the Western way of life, because in the Quran, it tells the followers that the earth, the globe, is yours to conquer. Go out and take the land. Allah has already given it to you. You just need to now go out and get it. It's all yours. So then it's the caliphate. Come after it. Do whatever you can. They can't beat us militarily. We've decimated ISIS in the Middle East. So what do? Illegal immigration. Just go ahead. And the globalists want it. The globalists want it because, and you say, Brian, why do Democrats and globalists want Islam? Because Islam is the same thing, same result as socialism and as communism. It enslaves the citizenry, and those at the top stay at the top, wealthy and rich, wielding power from their office. And at Real Danny, TOMO, funny how the left are obsessed with Islamophobia, yet when Christians are attacked and churches are burned down, we hear nothing. And this at David Vance, at DVATW, another one to follow. Spontaneous combustion of Christian churches is a feature of France these days. From Notre Dame to small churches like this, it has to be the only explanation. Cough, cough. This is what they do. This is what we've been seeing. We're seeing all over in England, all over in France, in Sweden. What happened in Sweden last night? The famous words of Donald Trump tweeting out, yeah, you remember what happened in Sweden last night. It doesn't matter. You could find something in Sweden that's happened last night. It's out of control. Nobody's reporting it. This is the conquering of Western civilization in Europe and the enslavement of the citizens there. God help them, pray for them. That's about all you can do at this point in time. And this at Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, U.S. rescued Ilhan Omar. She said thanks by showing us with contempt. Watch.
Think about that for a minute. Our country rescued Ilhan Omar from the single worst place on earth. We didn't do it to get rich. In fact, it cost us money. We did it because we are kind people. How did Omar respond to the remarkable gift we gave her? She scolded us and called us names. She showered us with contempt. It's infuriating. But more than that, it's also ominous. The United States admits more immigrants than any country on earth, more than 1 million every year. The Democratic Party demands that we increase that number and admit far more. Okay, Americans like immigrants, but immigrants have got to like us back. That's the key. It's essential. Otherwise, the country falls apart. We made that point last night. We'll continue to make that point because it's true, and it's important to say it out loud, even if no one else is willing to.
And this at Jessie Jane Duff, a good friend and good one to follow. They hate it when you say true things. Ilhan and her allies immediately demanded Tucker Carlson's show be pulled off the air. They didn't rebuke what he said, any of the points, or acknowledge them. They just tried to silence us. This is how they operate at FoxNews.com. Absolutely, 100%. Tucker Carlson called Ilhan Omar a walking alarm. Guys, this is to alert you. Listen to what she's saying. Watch her actions. She's alerting you as to what Islam will do in America. I've showed you before up there in Minnesota in her district. There have been documentaries made where people go down in the streets and talk to all this. It is a huge Somali refugee camp, like the entire city is a Somali refugee camp. And you go up and down the streets talking to the Somali men, the refugees, and they say, absolutely, bring Sharia law in. It should be here already. Sharia law is not compatible with any laws in the world. Listen, unless you're trying to create a slave state, that's the only thing Sharia law is good for. And Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and AOC should be the alarms, the walking alarms, letting you know of what the future holds if you continue to allow Muslims coming into America. I'm saying stop Muslims altogether. Not a single Muslim be admitted to this country whatsoever. You say, Brian, that's a harsh stance, man. You're really being mean to some people. No, if you're willing to say, I no longer will practice Islam, if you're willing to prove take off the garb, take off the headpiece and the scarf, take all that off, and you're willing to not practice Islam, ban Islam from America and not practice it, you can come in. What other countries are doing this? China's doing this. Japan is doing this. They're the only two countries that are going to be able to preserve their national heritage. I mean, seriously, think about it. Japan and China banning Islam to protect their people, to protect their heritage. And as we bring it back home, our good friend at Chris_A10_USA, Texas Muslim tried to join Islamic State, said if he couldn't, he'd carry out jihad massacre in the U.S. This at jihadwatch.org. And at McGuire Scotty, this in Indiana, Yemeni Muslim who tried to join Islamic State terrorist gets 8 years in prison. This at creepingsharia.tumblr.com. I'm glad. Put these people in prison. There is no peaceful Muslim. What, Brian? No peaceful Muslim? No. They're just not speaking out against this. Your silence does not make you peaceful. It makes you a party to this. You're allowing this to thrive, allowing Islam to go ahead and conquer Western civilization. I can't be more clear about it than that, and we absolutely should ban Islam from not only our country, but also from elected officials. If you are practicing Islam, you should not be allowed to hold any office in the United States of America, because your goal will be to remove constitutional rules and laws and put in unconstitutional rules and laws. And that's not what we want. Everything that you believe in and that you practice is 100% against our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. It's our way of life. Don't come here to America and think to yourself, well, I'm going to America because I hate them and I'm going to get retribution. No, stay where you're at. Meet me on Twitter. Oh my goodness, folks. Fastest hour you're going to spend with anywhere, anytime. Guys, jump over to smith.tv, become a Patreon of ours. Help us continue to get out the real news every single night, Monday through Friday, Thursday thoughts on Donald Trump and social media. We've got to get a hold of this. Donald Trump taking the steps to help make that happen with the social media summit today. It's going on this afternoon. It'll be going on later on tonight. So we'll get more information about how things went down. I reached out to Carpe Dunctum, and because he's going to be there, good buddy of the show, and to see if maybe we can get him on the show tomorrow and talk about what happened today at the social media summit. So keep your fingers crossed, folks. Maybe shoot him another DM and say, yeah, man, you got to get on Smith TV with Brian. Give me some updates. All right, guys. New Right Network's original series, Smith TV, giving you all the breaking news of the day, wrapping it all up, making sense of it, exposing the fake news media, exposing the Democrats and their agenda, giving you the real news every single night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, jump down in the description below, copy the full show note link, because in that link is all the show notes, obviously, and the embed for the show. And share that with your friends and your family so they can see everything. All right, guys, for Thursday Thoughts, peace out. I'll see you tomorrow, Freedom Friday.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.